Good Girl, Exploit World presents Fish Tank. Season 1, Episode 5. When Vanessa was 7 years old, she got a pet fish that her mother bought for her. Her mother got her daughter a pet fish because she had no friends and felt alone. Vanessa did not feel comfortable making friends with real human beings, since they are conscious, and she thought they would be too judgy on her guilty pleasure, and what makes her satisfied. The next day, Vanessa decided to take it to school, so she put it in a plastic bag. It did not go well though, because some kid grabbed the bag, and Vanessa had to chase the kid, but it was too late, and the kid threw it at one of the nearby teachers. The kid eventually got in trouble, in which it was partly thought the fish belonged to the kid. Vanessa was bitter for the rest of the day. And when she got home, her mother blamed her for taking her pet fish to school, and should have kept it home where it would be safe from the other assholes, hence, the kids at her school. Now, back to the presents. Vanessa was proud about her daughter getting good at independence. So, that day, Vanessa got her a big fish tank that contains more than 5 fish. When Alivier first saw the tank as a surprise, she had a surreal vision of the fishes being firearm bullets, but Oswald comforted her and gave her fish food packs for her to feed the fish. The next day, Alivier is feeding fish food to all the fishes in the tank. However, she has a total different vision of it, in which it depicts a humanoid fish portraying as an American government, whom Alivier feeds the fish food to. The fish food turns into money, in which the American governor fish eats while slavery fish are starving to death. This was an example of government money problems in which not money isn't donated enough. Speaking of money, Vanessa paid dollars for a fish tank containing many fish, and she thought she could have bought just a fish bowl with only one fish inside. Nevertheless, she thought that if the fish tank made Alivier happy, then she gets to keep it. While Alivier was looking at the tank, she had some kind of vision that made her see things different. For example, she had a vision where she saw the fishes in the tank working hard in the reef, in which the reef in the tank is disguised as the mines. This is an example of poverty, labor, and health condition issues, specifically and particularly upon the poor people. When it got dark, Alivier went to check up on the fish tank to feed the fish food. She then had another vision of it, where it shows 2 male fish kissing each other, which is an example of homosexuality problems. The next morning, Alivier woke up to eat breakfast. Instead of watching television, she wanted the fish tank while eating her very own cereal. While she ate, she had a vision of the fish, where she saw many fishes that exemplified global political issues. A fish getting abortion epitomizing human rights, a fish killing many clown epitomizing genocide, and a little fish being abandoned epitomizing age discrimination. Anyways, this was organized chaos that Alivier haven't knew was happening not only in the world, but her whole town. At one point, when she takes a look at the tank, she had a vision of the fishes voting and debating about their chosen president. This is an example of many voting problems. During one normal day, Alivier woke up to find her fish tank rotting. She didn't think to pour in new fresh water, but instead, she was thinking of bringing one fish to school with her. She got some chopsticks to pick one fish from the tank. Once again, she had another vision, which shows her picking out a single white fish among black fish. However, she picked it out before the fishes had their color changed, and upon noticing this, she did not think much about it, as she did not understand what was going on. This was an example of race discrimination. Anyways, during recess, some boy wanted to hold the fish, and Olivier gave it to the kid, and told the boy to be careful. The boy, of course, did not follow what she said, and the boy started tossing it to the air until it hit the ground, causing the water to spill out from the bag. Olivier quickly grabbed the bag with the fish still inside, and she ran to the water fountain to pour more water inside. Olivier kept the fish away from anyone after that. Meanwhile, Vanessa goes to Olivier's bedroom to check on the fish, and noticed how dirty the water tank was getting. She then poured the old water out, and poured fresh water inside to keep the fish healthy. When Olivier got home, she decided not to bring any other fish to school again. During the afternoon, Olivier had fun with the pet fishes. She wanted to be creative by adding little shelter inside the tank for some fish to hang out in. When placing a small toy castle inside the tank, she waited for at least one fish to go inside it. She went to get another toy to place inside the tank, but upon coming back, she had a vision in which shows all the fishes fighting over territory, hence, the toy castle. This was an example of political war and revolution, such as trading and exchange. Alivier decided to keep just one toy castle inside prior to her vision. During the night, Alivier went checked her fish tank before going to bed. She, of course, had a vision. This time, she sees a fish blowing bubbles, which turns into bullets, and it shoots another fish dead in the process, and red substances flows everywhere. Alivier is freaked out, and she goes up to her mom, and said that something is wrong with her pet fishes. Though, when her mother looks over it, she does not find anything strange about it. The next day, Alivier and Oswald had fun watching and feeding the fish. While they were staring at it, Alivier had a sudden vision of the fishes smoking weed. Although, in real life, it just shows the fish sniffing on the grass in the tank. Alivier sees that the fish's eyes were very red, and she informed it to Oswald. However, he of course does not notice anything about it, and thought Alivier was just seeing things. The fish smoking weed is an example of drug addiction issues. Anyways, Oswald went to Vanessa that they might need more fish food. Oswald was nice enough to use his money to buy some. After he bought fish food, Alivier fed it to the fish and made sure they were wealthy. She then had another vision of the fish, showing the fishes being testified by one fish, whom called the other fish, illegal aliens. This is an example of illegal immigration. Anyways, when it was nighttime, Alivier went to the bathroom to test her eyes by rubbing sink water on her eyes to make sure her eyesight is fine and really alright. When she got to bed, she took one last look at her fish tank, and to her surprise, she has an hallucination of some of the fish having trouble taking care of other fish. This is an example of parenting. Alivier is confused by what she was hallucinating, but goes to sleep. The next morning, Alivier woke up to check on her fish tank, and had a vision of one of the fish shooting another fish, and a red substance started to emerge from the fish. Alivier got worried and told her mom what happened. It later turns out that the fish did not get shot nor did it got hurt, but the red stuff was the fish's detritus, which means poo. Although Vanessa knew what the red stuff was, Alivier was still unsure. In fact, she first thought it was blood, so her mother comforted her, saying the fish is all right. Vanessa was triggered by the fact that her daughter thought it was blood, preceding the time when Alivier got shot and blood got all over her. Vanessa dumped the water out with the fish poo in it, and poured in fresh new water in the tank. As the water is being poured inside the tank, Alivier has a vision of the water turning into alcohol, and saw one of the fish drinking it, which is an example of alcoholism. Vanessa went back to the shop store along with the fish tank, and asked the company about the problem her daughter has with it, saying there is something wrong with all of the fish. When Vanessa got home, she told her daughter Alivier that the fish in the tank were going to be checked in. Alivier seems clearly a bit confused, and asks her mom if she saw any fish getting hurt or bleeding. Her mom says that was fish poo and that the fish were fine. Alivier is in disarray and tells her mom that she really saw blood, and the fish had spoken to her. Vanessa tries to calm Alivier down and brings her to the living room to watch TV. Later that day, Oswald and Vanessa discussed about the fish tank. They thought Alivier had horrible hallucinations after being shot 3 times once. The end.